What's up, everybody? We are here for our first official episode. I'm Lola.
I'm Mikey Phantom.
And this is the Molly Insane Friends podcast where we have fireside conversations. So, Mikey, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm a little anxious, but I feel like I'm good, though.
Okay, why are you anxious?
I don't know. I feel like this is like the first step on like a really cool journey.
Yeah.
So I just want to like get it right. You know what I mean?
I mean, the beautiful thing is that I feel like we're just going to get it right as time goes, you know?
For sure.
Just got to keep having fun with it. That's really all it is.
For sure. Would you like to make a toast?
Sure.
Like to drink it up?
I didn't eat today, y'all, so...
Yeah, she's having wine instead of...
Responsible girly things. Wait, no, let me pour your shot for you. Have you ever had sake before?
Yes, I love sake.
Yeah, you gotta have
Purple
some.
Haze. Shout out to Main Street Sushi.
How much you pour is how much you respect someone.
Ooh.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Should I do a shot of wine so I still fit the aesthetic?
Sure.
Do you ever pour wine?
Of course.
I'll just hold it. Click. That's the 12 second to do that. Thank you.
Lots of respect.
Period.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To the pod.
To the pod. Blood of Jesus. Okay.
I'm tripping. Bloody
You heard that? LOL. You know, people really were like,
Lily, crazy. Spider web?
Yeah. People been saying I've been wilding on like the recaps of the Tapped In event. I don't think so. I will admit I was a little intoxicated, but
I think we were being fun on purpose, you know what I mean?
sometimes you do have to be fun. Do we know what we're talking about today?
Do we know what we're talking about?
Yeah.
We're talking about how a spider created that so cool. But anyway. But yeah, we got a few topics, and I feel like the conversation is just gonna flow anyway.
Okay.
We're gonna veer off the beaten path anyway. So it's
For sure. So as an overall general topic, though, is about like, I feel like the conversation did start because I was talking about how like men feel like if they don't have a certain amount of money, then a relationship within reason, you know, should not be their priority.
Yeah.
Or they feel undeserving of love because they don't have X and Y, Z together. How do you feel about that?
I think it's more than just a money thing. Money is usually like the main reason, but I think it comes from it could be situational. You know what I mean? Like, okay, for instance, somebody who's in my position, right? Money's not necessarily the issue. Sometimes it could be complete situation. So what I mean by that is like I move around a lot for work. You know what I mean? So my situation isn't always great to build a relationship with somebody. A lot of my relationships are long distance sometimes. So yeah, I think it could be positioned because they also, like me being on the move has also kind of made me like, damn, like not only do I want to be there for my partner, but I'm also a lover boy too. Like I want my partner to be around for me and stuff like that too. So it's like, it's twofold. But to answer the question directly, I do feel like because of what we see so often as men, you know, money always is the topic of discussion. I do think we can get to a point where we feel like, damn, if I'm seeing this and this is the new standard and I know I'm not that, I'm not even going to bother.
You know,
especially when we live in a date culture.
Yeah.
We don't even really live in a relationship culture. So it's like, all right, like, I don't really have the money to keep you satisfied financially in a relationship anyway, so I'm just going to have fun.
You know, I want you to talk about that. What do you mean that we live, like, in a date culture and not a relationship culture?
Everybody's moving on very quickly. Like, everybody is on to the next person.
Ooh.
There is no working out relationships. There is no long-term dating anymore. There's dating multiple people at once. There is all right, as soon as I get what I'm getting out of this relationship, I'm on to the next guy, I'm on to the next girl. We don't really live in like a relationship promoted society.
You know, I agree with that. And I'm finna say something. You know, there was this one guy, like, I wasn't even necessarily dating. Mm-hmm. And I really agree with you on that, because it's also the fact of thinking that so many people are replaceable.
Yeah.
Because we live in a day and age where we feel like getting a person is so accessible. I literally had a grown man tell me, "You're not my first bad bitch and you won't be the last." And I'm like, why the fuck would you say that? You know what I'm saying? Because it just makes it seem like people are just so replaceable, even on a surface level. Mm-hmm. Like, you're ignoring the fact about how kind I am, how generous I am, how loving I am. You're not gonna be my first bad bitch. Like, okay, move on to the next one.
You know what? I said something, and I do regret it. Let me preface with it. But I said something on camera about a situation that I was in, a relationship that I was in, and I said something that I really did mean how I felt at the time that this conversation was being had, and I won't repeat what I said and all the other stuff, but things, whether that person agrees with you on what was said and how it made you feel or whatever, you still are valid in how you felt about a particular situation or about a particular comment that was made. And so it's like, I agree with you, like, holding on to like that moment and like how that made you feel and how, and the thoughts that may have came after that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's like, although I do think that he was fucked up for saying that, what was said in my situation wasn't necessarily meant as like a dig. Yeah. But it still made me feel some type of way. Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is you bringing up all of the intangible things about yourself that he's not considering. He's just looking at it as like, all right, like I can get another bitch. Yeah.
And but I wonder, like, what is it gonna take? Because I've seen this thing on TikTok about like men yearning and like that yearn for things now. Like, I think that was like the real basis of love. Even if you go back and listen to music, right? Like, people were literally yearning like to have a connection with someone. And I really hate to just keep talking about it, but I do feel like since social media, you can see my life and what I post today. I can see yours. So it's like connection has started to become such this digital thing that it's like, even if you may be the person I want, I will literally distract myself with all these other people on my Instagram or try to make it seem like I have connections when you don't. And I think that's part of it, just being so like on to the next, because realistically, yes, there are so many attractive people in the world, but it's like, just because they're attractive does not necessarily mean that they're your person or you're even compatible with the person. A lot of people have chemistry, but they're just simply just not compatible.
You brought up a really interesting point that people do bring up here and there, but I don't think it's brought up enough. The music. Yeah. The music, like movies. I'm really big on imagery, right? One of the reasons why, and I am a horror movie genre lover, but the reason why I will watch a scary movie and I won't necessarily watch all of the imagery that is shown in the movie is because images stick with me for a really long time. So with like things you hear constantly, the music is very on to the next. The music is very, I don't need a bitch. The music is very, if a nigga ain't coming with the bag, blah, blah, blah. And so it's like we start to like live like that. You know what I mean? Like art imitates real life.
For sure.
And sometimes vice versa. And so I think the music is another important part. Like, what are we listening to? And what are these people who are making the music? How are they actually living in real life?
Yeah, and I think that's valid because I'll be honest. You know, when City Girls came out, I was like, city girl, city girl, city girl. Give me the nigga money. Yeah. Nigga money. Money nigga. But that's not really just like who I am as a person, right? Yeah. Like, when I really do have a person, like, this may just be so like cringy, but like, I believe, like we talk about, like, I don't think that certain things are reserved to gender. Like, I feel like men also deserve to be spoiled because, like, you're a person, you know what I'm saying? Like, to be acknowledged for your hard work or being patient or just listening, like, yeah, those are bare minimum things, but you never know how hard that is for a person to actually do, even on like their worst days. You know what I'm saying? And still choosing to show up for you. So I am no city girl. Like, if a man wants to pay for something, like, by all means, but it's like, I'm literally not out here doing the nasty just for money or just praising a man because he effed on me and gave me something of material value. And I think that is like the concept where women, I won't say all, I'm not saying that all, but I do feel like some women may deal with the idea of the princess treatment, having a man do every single thing for you, but also not want to use a man for money. But also, in the past, I always talk about, like, our grandmas and our grandfathers, great-grandmas, whatever. The man their responsibility was to provide money and to help you, like, the other half of a child, right? So it's like, now that I feel like some women don't really want to have kids right away, or just have their own bread, they don't need a man, kind of, in their own opinion, I can see why some men feel like, if I don't have these things, going back to our original thing, like, what do I have to offer this person? You know? And I feel like, even for me as a woman, I'm not perfect, but I have suggested to some men to just show up as themselves. And that by far seems like to be the hardest thing to do besides getting money. Why is it so hard just to be yourself?
That's a very deep and a very layered question. Please remember that, because I want to come back to it. But I want to respond to something you said earlier. And I was actually thinking about this like the last couple of days or whatever. And it's the fact that you brought up, like, grandma and granddad, right? Yeah. And you brought up, like, the roles that were had and stuff like that. But it's, aside from grandma and granddad, our society, our group of people, our era of kids mostly grew up in single-parent households, or unhealthy households, right? And the thing I was thinking about, I was like, the single mother culture produced a group of men and women, but I'm going to focus on the women just for a second. Yeah. Produced a group of women that didn't see how mom interacted with dad. Right. You didn't really get to see your mom be there for your dad when he wasn't making a lot of money. Right. So you don't even know what that looked like. You don't even really know what a supportive woman looks like. People think of support and it's like, oh, I'm going to support my man in being successful. How do you support a man when he's not being so successful?
Let me ask you that, since you're on that, right? So, there's a few things to unpack here, right? I feel like it's a double-edged sword. So I feel like we've all seen, what's the movie, Acrimony? Where Taraji P. Henson was holding her man down or whatever, down bad, and he just could not come up with whatever little... Have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was a real-life instances where women have tried to hold men down, you know, in their lowest point, just for them to kind of get to an elevated position, and then kind of just discard them for the next woman or thing.
Here's what I would say in response to that. Did that man actually have potential, or did you just like him and you hoped that he would gain potential? Before you answer that, and I'm not saying it to be like combative. I'm saying that in all sincerity, because there are some men who are able to be rehabilitated. Yeah. And there are some men who are not, and they have no aspirations to be, they show no signs of progressing, blah, 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 and you're with him because you either like or love a particular thing about him. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's like, and I say that because I'm on a journey of, like, I've treated some women who deserved support and they deserved being provided for and stuff like that, and I didn't do it out of, like, me not fully understanding or being able to see their potential. Yeah. You know what I mean? And sometimes you give that to people who are undeserving of it.
For sure.
And so I think it comes down to a thing of, you have to be really careful about being able to, like, really see a person for who they actually are.
I guess my question is too, like, let's just say he is rehabilitated, right? And he's doing well. And he's to the point where he's like, okay, well, I don't need you anymore. So that's the instant I'm talking about. Like, for the man to actually, you've done your job as a woman, you've been supportive, you know, you've been there, been the shoulder to cry on, and then they just up and just discard you after they get their level of success.
Now that
I feel like that's rare though, but I could be wrong.
That I would honestly say is, all relationships are a roll of the dice.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
very valid.
No matter what, you feel what I'm saying? So it's like, I was on a wave for a long time, invalidly, if that's even a word. But I was on a wave for a while where I was, like, afraid to get married because I do have a high earning potential, right? And I saw endless stories of men who were really in love with a woman and they believed that this woman was really in love with them and they never thought that this woman would hurt them, whatever the case may be. And the divorce happens and people's feelings and people's attitudes change when the breakup is happening.
Yeah.
And so it's like this woman that you thought had your best interest at heart, and maybe she really did at the time, but situations change people. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I saw a dude who, I worked with him, right? He was like 31, 32 years old at the time, so I had to have been like 27, 28. He was married to a woman. They were in love. They were both in the Navy, I believe. Don't quote me on that, though. And together, he had earned like $70,000. That's what he had like liquid in the bank.
Yeah.
His wife took like all of that and the house. So I'm 32 years old. I've lost my whole savings, my whole life savings, and I lost my property.
Yeah.
So in total, he probably lost like $400,000. He lived in California, maybe $600,000.
Yeah.
The house could have easily been $500,000. Yeah. And so it's like, if you go into every relationship feeling like that's going to happen to you, you're only going to be able to be able to perform in that relationship in that mindset.
You know what?
And you have to like truly believe that that won't happen to you.
You know, everything is a battle of the mind for sure. And what I'll say to that is that kind of goes back, and this is not shading him. I'm sure people put on amusing faces all the time.
For sure.
But it's very much being sure that you like your person. I don't mean love. I mean, genuinely, like, if y'all were locked in a freaking insane asylum room with no music, just pillow walls, because you endure each other for 48 freaking hours.
Yeah.
You know? And this is interesting to me. So, right now, what I am deeming to be, like, a slow burn type of thing, I'm really used to men, like, coming in, like, extremely, like, hot and fast with me. Like, essentially love bombing, right? So, like, on the phone quite often, all the time, just trying to progress things to a very fast rate. And I feel like that is a tactic that people use, male and women, right? Because it's like, if I can hurry up and get you to the point of, like, accepting me quicker, I would have you in way fast than I intend to, and I can distract you from everything else that I lack if I can get you to hyperfixate on what you really like. And I think that happens a lot, especially in dating. You know, people are like, well, if we dating past so-and-so X amount of months, then I'm finna go on to the next person. But it's like, I saw this post, and it's true. Like, it hurts when people don't text you back, yeah. But it's like, we text people for, like, a month or weeks. And some people go crazy because a stranger, is not texting them back. I just feel like sometimes us as a community, I feel like we have way more disorganized and anxious attachment styles than we do secure. And that causes us to really get blindsided by our potential person to be our wife or girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah. I definitely have an anxious attachment style, and I'm actually working through that right now. But I think that comes from being an only child. You know what I'm saying? Like like abandonment issues and stuff like that, or abandonment anxiety. For sure. Because I've actually rarely have been abandoned. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like the fear of. Yeah,
because you're an only child. Like, it's literally just you. Like, you have parents and you have family, but like.
And so once you're in my circle. Yeah. Like, once I've okay, if we're dating, if we're like closely dating, if we're like in a relationship, you're in this protected bubble now. And so it was like, I forgot who said it, but it was like, I think it was Kanye. He said it on the album. It was like, you only care about the people who were close enough to hurt you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, people talking on the outside, like, who cares? But this person hurting you, like, damn, like, I done let you in, and like, now we're beefing, now we're not talking, now you said something that hurt my feelings, like, now I'm actually fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I forgot what my original even thought was, but I wanted to go back to something you said. What were you just talking about?
Anxious attachment styles, disorganized, or you talk about the thing you said put a pin in?
Nah, it was something else.
I was talking about love bombing. Yeah.
So with the love bombing thing, right? I do know people who do that. Yeah. I'm not even gonna lie. That is a tactic that dudes use, right? And it's it's refreshing to hear you say that, of like women can take that as love bombing. And I feel for women that has happened to. But I'm the type of person where, like, in the first, really early on, I can tell if I like you.
For sure.
Because I've met so many women that I don't like.
Yeah.
That, like, when I finally do come across a woman that I do like, I'm like, all right, like, I can vibe with this. And, like, I'm willing to open up a little faster. And I'm hoping that you open up a little faster because I know for a fact that I like you.
What do you mean faster? Because I have a few things. So, let's just say you got on your first date with the girl. You like her, right? Vibe was great. You know, you feel her, blah, blah, blah. And then you go back and you're like, I really like this girl. What is your next move? What do you do?
So we go on a date. I really like her.
Yeah.
What's my next move? To be consistent.
Y'all been texting for a week.
To be consistent. Like,
what is consistent?
Get her out again.
And it's understandable. I'm saying, like, just, I mean, you know, trigger warning. It's not funny. It's not funny. I feel like I have, like, experienced, like, severe love bombing before, but I really can say, like, I have experienced that thing to the point where, you know, I was dating someone, and Mikey, I was talking about, like, if I didn't answer the phone, and of course this was, like, my person at the time, but you can still get love bombed once they have entrapped you into a relationship. It's manipulation. It's a technique. So I'm talking about, like, being called 30 times, text like 30 times. If I'm not answering that, they're going to Instagram, calling me 30 times. Like, that's a real thing, right? And so this is just my message to, what's up?
Nah, I'm saying that I've done that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I'll be honest.
And, you know, hey.
But I'll tell you why later, though. But I want you to finish.
I get it. But for me, like, that's not something that's, like, healthy for me. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's
what do you say your attachment style is?
Me?
Yeah.
I think I'm, like, disorganized, but just really mostly anxious. Because I say disorganized because...
Are you avoidant?
I am avoidant to the point that when and I'm going to say this, because I don't want somebody to feel the type of way. But in the past, when I really did like someone, right, and I felt really safe and I felt comfortable, the anxiety kicked in a way that was no longer anxious, like, oh my God, I have to keep them here. It was more so, I'm a runner, so I'm going to leave you before you leave me because I know deep down you really want to anyway, right? So I'm working to a more secure style. I think I've done good, though. And I'll tell you, anybody who's working with an anxious attachment style or just, and I'm not a therapist, so please don't quote me on this. This just works for me.
Yeah.
But, like, anybody who has an anxious attachment style or just an avoidant, either one, anything that's not secure, I have leaned on my community so hard, and I will say this with an emphasis, women who have sense, right? And women who know me. Most importantly, your friends have to know you. So if I call them and I say, well, he did this, this, and this, and I haven't heard from them, they're like, Lola, like, let's just walk through this real quick. And so I'll walk through it, or I've got to the point now where I'll walk through it on my own. And honestly, you mentioned something about attachment styles and how they start early on in childhood, right? That's how they're developed. So I will legit, this sounds so crazy, because you got on my ass last time and was like, I'm sure there's a nigga you've been head over heels for. Yeah, there's plenty, okay? But it's like a thing of, like, you know, I'm going to cry in my room, get all my tears out, and deal with my anxiety because it's not his anxiety. 9 out of 10, when you hit your partner up, you know, when you hit your partner up and you're like, why you ain't text me, or you start going off, or you must not fuck me, they don't know what the hell is going on. Like, why did you they could be literally asleep all day or something, or taking care of business, and they could have the worst day possible.
Yeah. And
they get a text, talk about some, I don't want to fuck with you no more. What are you talking about? You know? And they don't know what's going on. And usually that has to be a conversation of, like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that, this is what I'm going through, like, you haven't talked to me. That's not their shit. It's your job to handle your own shit. You call your friends, you sit in your room, you pray, you journal, you cry it out. And once you get off that roller coaster of emotion, it's like, it was never that fucking bad.
I fuck with it.
Like,
because I've definitely needed to do that. Yeah, for sure.
And it doesn't make you weak, because sometimes people will I saw this thing where it was like, yes, God does not cause confusion. I understand that. But a lot of times, I'll say this. I have this theory that, yes, like demons and bad spirits are real, but the ones that are attached to you typically are your own personal demons. They are a reflection of you. So when you have anxiety, you're starting to get amped up and you're still, well, I'm so confused. Are you confused, or are you allowing your own insecurities take over you? Have they really done something to you?
I feel like this is like a therapy session.
Well, I've been in therapy for like 2 years.
Yeah.
But like, have they really done something to you? And a lot of times you are your own issue and problem. So it's like, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to cry about it. If I still feel some way afterwards, like now it's different if you saw some shit on Instagram about a girl, he commenting or she commenting or just doing too damn much, shaking her ass at the club and on it. You have evidence.
You know what my issue was, like recently was, but let me stop saying fucking recently. No, we wasn't recently.
Sorry.
An issue that I had was exactly that, like a woman reacting to me in a way that I wasn't used to.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's different when you are experiencing something new. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was a situation that I was like used to, I wouldn't have shown up the way that I did.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was like
different
new territory, I was like, all right, like this isn't, yeah. And so it was like, and her attachment style was avoidant. You know what I'm saying? So like she needed like way longer periods of time to go over things and think about things that I did or whatever. And I'm used to like I'm trying to talk about it, like what's going on, like what the woo, you know what I'm saying? And she just wasn't on it. And so I'm like, all right, like this been a couple days, we ain't talk, you know what I'm saying? Blah blah blah. So but yes, that it did reveal to me though that, hey, bro, you got some stuff that you need to work on, and you need to like figure out why you are reacting to certain things this way. And it's something that I wanted to bring up to you, like over the few minutes that you've been talking or whatever.
Yeah.
How do you feel about you liking a guy more in a relationship versus a guy liking you more than you like him in a relationship? But yeah, and I've been on both ends of the spectrum now, and it's like I definitely think that
the man has to like you more. You think so?
Huh?
The man has to like you more, you think?
No.
Really?
I kind of need my woman to like me more.
Okay, so
by a hair.
I think that's interesting, right? I think that going back to your point of like being avoidant or whatever, that's communication and emotional maturity. I'm sorry, I still don't like men that like go off the bonkers and like they need a day to process, but haven't told me that they're taking a day to process. Yeah. Because at that point, bitch, I'm anxious. Fuck the avoidant. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. But to answer your question about that,
and people don't realize how more anxious that makes you.
It's like, what the fuck did I do? Like, if I did something, let me know. If I didn't, and this thing is, it's not the fact that I want to talk to you now, but let me know.
Yeah, like
you need space.
Yeah,
so
let me
I
hear
can,
something.
People.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, that goes back to my point of like taking things slow with a person. And I want to talk about this too, because I've been kind of trying to talk about it. But limerence. Do you know what limerence is?
No, tell me. Educate me, please.
Limerence is when you initially meet a person. A lot of people rule it off as infatuation or lust, but it's like that behind the ear, back of the head obsession over that person. It's like you really do kick it with a person, you vibe with them, and you're just like, you're not obsessed with them, but they're literally all you can think about. You think they're the greatest person, not perfect, but like, oh my God, we connected, da-da-da-da-da. And I'll say this. A lot of times, I saw something where it was like, is he really funny, or did you say some funny shit and y'all just started laughing? Are they very kind, or did you send them something for like empathy and they said something nice? Like, it's finding what the source of the action was to see, was it actually you or that person, and you're making them more
important than they are.
Exactly. So to me, that's why I like to take things slow right now, because it's like I'm trying to decide, like, do I really like you more, or am I just making you be like this big old grandiose person?
Yeah.
But I think it's tricky on either side, if you want me to be real with you.
I think not to cut you off, I think I need to get as close to even as physically fucking possible. Clearly not physical. I didn't mean physical, literally, but like as close to even as possible, because I have had that in situationships, but not in a relationship. In my relationships, it's always been one or the other. My first relationship, I liked her more. Second relationship, she liked me a lot more.
So, but I'm asking, if the situationships were like that, like, why did y'all just never end up dating? If that's what like you were looking for.
Distance.
Okay, but to answer your question, I feel like with anything, right? And I'm not trying to be all spiritual, but if you look at something or you remember something, you don't got to talk about it. But think about something that you really, really wanted, really, really bad. Like you obsessed about it, like you had to have it. Like you were like, if I don't get this thing, like my freaking world is ending. The time period of you getting that thing is super, super long. And it just feels like this most strenuous, anxious attachment you've ever felt because you feel like you need that thing, right? So I feel like when there's an imbalance of someone liking somebody more, no matter the gender, everybody gets turned off when they feel like their person cannot live without them. Because now you feel suffocated. Now you feel like if I do fuck up, you know, they're going to be mad at me. I can't make mistakes. Moral mistakes, you know what I'm saying? Not infidelity, but like forgetting to take the trash out or forgetting for her to fold up clothes or starting dinner late. So like now you feel like there's like this high level of performance that you have to get to in this expectation, which then causes resentment. And that's where that happens, because anytime, going back to love bombing, that somebody is just giving more than they can even give just for the sake of you being satisfied and not, don't hate me, but 9 times out of 10, people really never ask for what you're giving them. You're choosing to give it to them. So you really cannot be mad at a person for giving 110% when they really probably only needed 60.
That's a bar.
You know? So I feel like that's why...
This is definitely a fucking therapy session.
So I feel like that's why that's it. And you need to figure out... That's why I say seriously, learn your partner. Not their favorite color. Like... Not their favorite food. Like, how do they really need for you to show up for them and support in situations?
I'm not gonna lie. I think the next relationship I get in, like, I'm gonna have it like...
You gonna get it?
For sure.
I think so, too. Because I feel like we make shit harder than it has to be.
I done had, like, every end of the spectrum now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, like, I know the games. I know the bullshit. I know, like, the real world responses to certain things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think I have literally seen it all.
And I feel like if we pay attention to how messy our day-to-day lives are, we would stop holding people to such high expectations of things. Like today, I was busy as hell. Like, I wasn't really focused on what was happening in my phone. Like, hell, I didn't freaking eat today. So you think I'm really worried about, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the honest situation. If you look at how messy and how unorganized your life is, why do you think that your person's would be, you know, even smoother than yours, especially if you're supposed to be equally yoked to a certain extent and taking time to get to know No.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, people have and it's not a cop-out, but it's like, I try to tell people all the time in dating, men and women are still human. Like, depression does not skip a gender. Sadness does not skip a gender. Busyness does not skip a gender. We're all freaking human.
Yeah. I'm thinking. That's why I'm like silent. I'm thinking like a motherfucker.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder, like, does that set me up for failure, like, for being a girlfriend, though? Because I feel like I'm legit just so understanding. Like, you can't fuck me over for real. Like, if you do some shit, either I'm going to find out or you're going to tell on yourself and you will get cut off. But I feel like I'm just so I just really don't understand sometimes. I won't say why I don't have a person, but it's like, I'm so okay on being on my own. I think it's an only child thing. I think when people actually date only children, they get terrified.
And you know what? That I think like that is the thing that pisses me off the most about when I do get into a situation or a relationship. It's like, bro, I was cool.
Yeah.
Like, nigga, I was cool.
Yeah.
Like, nigga, I had money in the bank. I had a 6-pack.
Yeah.
I was chilling.
You're wrapped up in your own world. It's literally you're used to going without.
And then I let your ass in here and like
act like this.
Yeah, I'm getting used to laying next to you and shit like that. And now you tripping. Now I'm tripping. I'm 6'0".
You know.
On neighborhood. No.
But you know, I mean, that's the thing. Like, when you are a secure person, when you're confident, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people sometimes, not all the time, but some people have to be careful to not find themselves in relationships just because they're bored. I will literally tell a nigga, are you here because you're bored? And they're like, do you think I don't know what you're doing. Yeah. I don't know. But if you're here because you need something to do, I ain't the one to do it with.
Yeah.
I'm cool by myself. I got my dog. I got my homegirls. Like, so, I don't know. I feel like people just, like, take their time. Like, again, take your time. Because 9 times out of 10, you don't even know your own self fully. You don't know why you're upset they're not texting back.
I think that's where I'm at with it, too. Right now. It's like I'm figuring out a lot of stuff at, not to be cliche, but, like, do you use human design?
Wow. Yeah.
So, what's your profile?
I'm a manifester.
You're lying.
I'm serious.
Manifester what?
What you mean?
What's the second thing?
I don't know.
I'm a manifester hermit.
I think I am too, friend. I'm so serious.
You are not.
I'm so serious.
Okay. So
I'm so serious.
So, you know, apparently our lives are in 3 phases. Mm-hmm. I've lived the first 30 years of my life, and so now I'm supposed to, like, go back into myself, and, like, I figured out a lot of shit. Wow. And blah, 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 blah. And so it's like, I do feel like I'm about to be 31 in May, right? Mm-hmm. And I just feel like I just told you, after this last situation, it was like, okay, I've literally seen what I feel like is everything that I could possibly see. And that's why I'm able to not necessarily have the upper hand, because I don't want to say, like, one person has the upper hand versus...
You have knowledge. You have a playbook.
Yeah.
A guidebook.
But it's like, now, if I were to, like... I already was like, before this one, I think this one was the last surprise of, like, okay. Like, I can be on the other side of this still. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not all the way there like I thought I was.
Yeah.
But I think I definitely had, like, a lot of stuff revealed to me. It was like, okay, like, bro, you did a lot of shit where you was tripping. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you did a lot of shit. And also, like, I had been single for, like, 3 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so, it was like, you know, once you get back into it and you've knocked that rust off and stuff like that, there's just certain things that you have to get reused to doing again.
Oh, that scares me. It does.
You have to get, like, reacclimated to, like...
thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, and doing it in a healthy way.
Yeah, for sure. So... like,
not suffocating them.
You know?
Like, I have to be aware of that now.
They have their own thing going on.
Yeah.
And I've had 2 boyfriends my whole entire life, you know? Of course, I've dated people in passing in terms of, like, you know, dating, going out on dates, not exclusive. Mm-hmm. I've been single since, like, 2021. So... damn. It's not funny. So... oh my God.
What year is it?
Damn. Woo. So that does scare me. Like, it's I've been able to live my life on my own accord, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I've been able to, and I'm always going to be a respectful girl. Like, even to myself, I'm going to be respectful. I'm not going to be in all these men faces, batting my eyes. Like, that's for me. That's not because I have a person.
Yeah.
So, but it's still keeping in mind that even though I've met all these people in passing since I've been single, you know, I can have a conversation with you, right? Mm-hmm. And we have regular conversations, but if I'm dating someone, they don't know me, and they just walk in an event and see me talking to you, the first thing in their mind is, who is that nigga? And then I go and I talk to somebody else.
Like, damn, he's handsome.
LOL.
He's probably got that sewed up. She's never going to talk to a guy like me. Look at that guy.
Anyway.
That fucking beard, that grade of hair.
Anyway, I go to the next nigga. I do the same shit. So it's like, it's giving this image that I'm not paying attention to from my perspective.
His muscles and tattoos.
No,
look at his fucking outfit.
All of this. I haven't said any of this.
Look at his fucking outfit.
He's
oh my God.
I haven't said any of
You
this.
see that guy? What a fucking stud. Okay.
Uh-huh. So going to, like, perspective, like, to my perspective, these are my homies. Like, you know, I've seen them in passing. But to a new person, it's like, you know, you don't know what's going on in their head. And again, I keep talking about communication. Like, that is a communication aspect, you know? Mm-hmm. But also keeping in my mind, like, I'm not saying you should coddle your partner.
Yeah.
But having the self-awareness to know, okay, I could see how this may look. Let me go reassure them. Oh, I was up there talking to my homie about XYZ, da-da-da-da. You know, so that person even have time to feel insecure. Like, that's still their own baggage. But I feel like we should not literally be adding fuel to the fire. So it's like always thinking of that person. Again, even if you're not used to texting or calling, if you want somebody around, you better figure that shit out. It don't got to be all the time, but if you want a person, you got to do something. Dates. I'm not romantic. Okay, but you like me. Figure it out.
Trying to tell you.
So, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't fuck with that as like a cop out. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't either.
Hey, just because I'm either not used to doing something or, you know, I don't have experience doing this or whatever. You know, whatever the case may be, like, bruh, you got to get on the same page as your partner.
For sure.
At some point,
especially if you want them.
In some kind of way, yeah.
Which goes back to your point earlier of saying how in relationships, like, people don't do that no more. They date. Like, and I'm not saying if you're being mentally, physically, emotionally, any type of abuse to stay and figure it out. But I'm saying if niggas are just arguing because somebody forgot to take the orange juice bottle out the fridge or something, or forgets to do their laundry, like, work through that. Like, create a system or something.
But I got something for you. Like, I think people are habitual daters in relationships.
What do you mean?
I think people habitually get into relationships with people to get things out of them. Just to move on, with the intention to move on at some point.
Damn. Ooh.
You ever heard of the term monkey branching?
No, but I can visualize it.
Yeah, monkey branching is basically like a term that, like, typically women do it. Men do it too, but typically women do it. I'm sure you know of a woman who, like, she's always with a nigga.
Okay.
You absolutely know a woman who does that.
I'm gonna say this. And I'm not calling myself a monkey.
Obviously not. It's February.
Period. But I told you, I only had 2 boyfriends, right? Last one ended 2021. It was an on and off situation. So I would find myself going out on dates. Some of the men I actually did like. Okay, that sounds... Dang, that sounds bad. You can't put that in there. I'm so serious. That sounds so bad. This sounds bad. But... some of the men I went on dates with I liked. I can honestly say that. I did. Now, if they got my number or texted me, that's different. But if I actually agreed to go on a date with you, then I liked you, you know? But with that being said, though, I won't say I move on fast, especially if it's just, like, talking or something. You know, I don't necessarily have the same emotional attachment. But anyway, yeah, I would. I would go on dates. I would meet people. But I wouldn't steal, like you're saying, I wouldn't take from them, right? Yeah. Like, I wouldn't. The most I would do is, like, hang out with them, get to know them, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Because I'm just an open to finding love person, you know? But the idea of women just dating men to get resources, I mean, personally, my homegirls don't do that. But, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe I know of a woman personally that does it, but you see it.
Like city girls and shit?
No, I'm just saying, like, you don't even have to be that deep. People you know in real life, but...
I've done it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but that is, you know what I'm saying, could even be an even deeper conversation, you know what I mean? Like, that could be a sign of abandonment issues. That could be a sign of being afraid to be alone and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
But that's still something that goes back to the point of you have to, and I will say this, it's a very scary thing, like, to work on those attachment styles, to work on, it hurts more. Not that I've done it. But it hurts more to sit there with yourself and cry because you are realizing imperfections in yourself and a neediness that you know goes back from you being a child that you have to heal on your own than to send someone a text and go off on them.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Because 9 out of 10, you're going to be by yourself and you have to have a hard conversation because usually when that emotion hits, it's been a buildup of you ignoring it for so long that it's like, I feel like I'm actually dying. And it's like, technically, the old version of you is dying because you're realizing something here is wrong. It's not going to feel great. But that's the accountability portion. If you really want a healthy freaking relationship, men and women, you going to have to sit there and cry that shit out. You got to journal it, talk to a homeboy, talk to a homegirl. Because it's not going to get any better from that.
You know, one thing that I'm, like, super excited about is, like, the idea that, bro, like, you actually can, like, become a different person. And that's why I think that, like, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, like, the opinions and damn near even, like, some of the feelings of, like, your exes and shit like that are invalid. Because it's, like, it's not invalid, but it doesn't have to be your truth forever.
Right.
Like, yes, I did do certain things in that situation that I probably shouldn't have done. There were things that I could have done better. But, bro, you absolutely have the chance and opportunity to become a whole different person.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm, like, at right now. It's like, bro, I'm reading all these books that I probably never would have read. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Just like being honest with myself about certain things. Yeah. Like being honest with myself about certain things that I wouldn't have had a conversation with me about. Like, I just started back talking to myself, like speaking affirmations onto myself and shit like that. And it's like, damn, bro, like you literally can change everything about who you are.
People, y'all are gonna find this out about me, hopefully within this podcast. But there's a few things to unpack here, right? The first one being, you know, people serial date because they're running from themselves. Anytime, even if you texted a person for a week and it didn't work out, it is always best to still take a period of time and reflect, not internalize, but reflect why something did not work out as a blueprint to be better for yourself the next time. Emphasis for yourself and not the actual person. Because once that person seems as if they're not appreciating that anymore, then to you it's going to lose all value. But if you do it for yourself, always for yourself, it's always going to hold value. But going back to your point of everything is mental, it's so funny that you talked about human design. I am a manifester, and people really close to me, you know, I tell them certain things and they literally go like, Lola, what the hell? You just said this shit a week ago. How is it already here?
Because I told you, nigga.
Because I told you. And also, it is mental. The affirmation shit is real. Y'all need to be doing them affirmations, okay? But you literally have to reprogram. That's what I'm saying. When you sit with yourself and do that shadow work, you are deprogramming everything that you've told yourself, you've taught yourself, people have told you, and you're coming back into a real true self that is you.
Let me tell you something that I came to a conclusion about the other day. I went back, like, once again, you know, I keep telling you over and over again that this last situation was, like, very pivotal for me, right? And I went back and I was, like, thinking about all of, like, the women I've dated and shit like that, right? And I came to the conclusion that I was dating women that I felt like I was choosing women based on things that I wanted to see in myself.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, I wanted to date a woman who, like, had a good career because I want a good career for myself.
Yeah.
I want a woman who's good with money because I'm good with money.
Right.
And it was like, damn, like, I keep trying to date a mirror
of who you want
of myself. And I keep not finding that, which means I'm not allowing that woman to be who she is.
You know what? There's a few things here, right? First one being, I saw this TikTok and this girl, her therapist was like, what kind of man do you want? She's like, well, I want him to do this, 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 and this. Like, she's like, write it all down on what you want. So she wrote it all down on what she wanted from a man. Like, you'd say good career, fit, financially stable, all these things. So she came back to the next therapy session. Her therapist was like, okay, so I need you to also be all these things.
A bitch do got to be fit now. I don't want that to get lost in translation.
What, fit?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think you said that. I think I said fit for you.
Yeah, you did. You did. But I want to make sure that I don't leave that off the list.
Okay.
Get in that gym, baby.
So, yeah. Oh, my gosh. And the second thing, you said something about, what did you say? About them being...
I said them having a career, them being good with money, having a career. I mean, to go deeper, for them to be verbal about their love.
Yeah, you said that something you needed those things. Oh, okay. Also, too, I want to say this. This goes back to knowing yourself and knowing who you are. People... I just feel like I'm going to be so problematic. I feel like people are going to be like, oh, she's so smart or she's stupid. But like you just said, do not date people based on where you want to be for your own potential.
Be there for yourself.
Be that for yourself for two reasons. I'm going to go on a little tangent here. One being, you can only truly meet your person when you're on the journey to be yourself. So let's just say that you weren't financially, you know, like let's just say that you weren't financially stable yet, or you wanted XYZ. You need to be on that journey to get that. And then I always say that dating should be like a race. You should look over and all of a sudden you should see this person that has been running with you for the last few miles and y'all can keep up. Not having to stop every 10, 15 seconds. Do you need water? Like, oh, I'm just so tired. I don't know if I can go on. That's not really your person. And also just trying to drag someone with you. It's okay that they need a little bit longer to run that lap. But your speed is different. So you're getting mad at them, telling them your time is too slow, your time is too slow. Allow that person to be who they need to be, and you go find a person that matches the pace of your own freaking race. Like, stop trying to change people to be something. That's really how resentment happens. You gotta like, that's why I said you have to like your person, not try to change them into being the person that you want just because they fine, they ass fat, or he got a 6-pack, or...
Yeah, so I think that is a great point to end our conversation at, because we're like in an hour now. So I know you guys, if you guys are still here, we really appreciate y'all listening to us fucking yap for an hour. But I really fuck with this. I'm definitely excited about doing episode 2.
Yeah.
And just to give y'all a little behind the curtain, this was like a free flow conversation.
For sure.
This was like very much not curated. This was not like this wasn't a very scripted conversation. This was like just us like talking. So that gives me even more confidence for like the conversations that we have that are more
for sure
curated and stuff like that. And, you know, having guests and stuff like that, we'll incorporate that at some point. But yeah, so let's do one last cheers. So a successful episode 1.
Insane as fuck.
We'll see y'all later.